on TikTok because it's quite germane to the topic today. So I'm just trying to get everything going here because I had to stop and restart. All right. All right, everybody. Hey, I am Dan, aka known as Men Need to Be Heard. And for those of you that don't know me, I speak out on issues affecting men and boys, wide variety of things, from domestic violence issues that men and boys go through, to divorce, all that stuff. A little bit on relationships, though I don't claim to be a relationship coach by any means. In fact, the last one that I would say. And I actually had a different topic that I wanted to talk about today. So before I get into that, just quick note, I am live every Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern US, with the exception of next week. Next week, Thursday is Thanksgiving in the US. I am not going to be doing a live that next Wednesday. I'm going to try and do one Tuesday instead. I'm not sure I can do it. But Wednesday is we have this traditional family thing that we do where we order Chinese food the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and it's family time, and I'm not going to miss that, so I won't be live then, and I apologize for that. But I am going to try and do Tuesday, same time frame, 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you are a regular watcher, and I have several, make note of that. All right, so I wanted to jump in and kind of talk about why I have the topic I do have up, because a lot's happened in the last, I'll say month, maybe 3 weeks, to not just me, but many of us who speak out and talk about men's issues. Large variety of creators, and we're seeing it on not any one platform. I've had issues on, so I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. No issues whatsoever with Twitter. I know it's X. I refuse to call it X. I have a Rumble, which is, I don't know why I have it, because it doesn't do anything. That's a dead thing. But anyway, I've had problems on a couple of mine, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Others have had problems. I'm going to get a little bit more in detail, and I'm not speaking on behalf of others or talking for them. I'm just going to make people aware of what's going on. But there's been a huge uptick lately for those of us. Actually, I should say it was a huge downtick for those of us who speak out on men's issues. Some of us have had accounts banned. Some of us have had videos by the dozens mass reported. I wouldn't be surprised if this live gets taken down on a couple of the platforms, to be honest with you, because the funny thing is, when I tried to go live, they weren't going to let me. And I actually had to go in and tweak the settings. Now, I've never had a problem getting on live, but it was not going to let me on. It just was not. And so finally I know what I had to fix. I changed the title and changed the original thing, and then suddenly I was able to get on. But I wanted to kind of speak about that and let people know, because it kind of illustrates what's going on. All right, so if you're first time watching me, and I'll get into the comments in a little bit, because I do like to have conversations. That's why I do these lives. It's my favorite part of all of this, to be honest with you. You know, I try and get 1 or 2 videos up a day, and I enjoy that. I have my podcast, Men Need to Be Heard show, which goes up Sundays at 11. Next couple of shows you guys are going to like. I have some creators joining me both times, and we're talking about various issues. You'll know who they are. I'm not going to reveal names yet, but most of you who follow me will know. But you know, it's been a really tough couple of weeks for us that speak out, because it's just mentally exhausting. So, as I said, I was trying to get on the live and get that set up. I was having issues with that. Me personally, I have been demonetized on Instagram. Why? I have no idea. They will not tell me. They have not told me. I have 0 violations on that account, right? 0. But apparently, I've done something to piss off the meta gods. So for me, it was about a month and a half ago, so a little bit longer than I've been talking about time frame wise, but that's when I kind of noticed it starting. So they demonetized me. Again, I have contacted them repeatedly. Now, let's understand, what I make is pennies, okay? Oh, here we go with all the insults already. See, I gotta love these lives sometimes. I'll get to the comments shortly, but they demonetized me. Again, it's pennies. I don't really care about the money. It's not about the money. It's the principle of it, right? Is I see other creators saying just inappropriate things. I'm going to leave it at that. Who not only are monetized, but blue checked on some of the social medias. And get millions of views. And that's okay, right? I mean, I don't report other people. I don't believe in banning. I don't believe in reporting or any of that. I have mentioned this before. In my multiple years, I started getting on these various platforms. I've been on YouTube for a while on different accounts, but for these purposes, I started back in 2020. In all of that time, I have reported, I think, 3 videos total. And all of them were for the only reason I think it's valid to report a video, which was they were making an overt threat, okay? I don't believe in banning. I don't mass report or report anyone. I don't, for the most part, delete people or ban them from my account. People want to jump on and say things, I let them. Now, I have gotten a little bit tougher on that because, to be honest with you, what we noticed, not just me, but others noticed, was that certain people were coming in, loading up a bunch of comments specifically designed to get responses, and then using those responses to go after and report the comments that were being made. So not against me, but the people making the comments. And I see one of the people on YouTube, the questioner said, I've had comments deleted. That's what I'm talking about, right? Thank you for posting that. That's what they're doing. They're targeting my followers. That's one thing they're doing. They're also then taking that and mass reporting me. And I'm not the only one that's seeing this, right? It's a tactic they use. So when I start seeing that, I'll let it go a little bit because you never know. But if I get suspicious, then I will block them on my account. And I don't like doing that. I don't believe anyone benefits from blocking, to be honest with you. I think it's actually, Angel, I'll answer that question in a little bit. So Angel's asking, what's the worst threat you've gotten? Stay tuned, because I am going to, just a couple minutes, I'll be talking about it. I just don't believe in that. I believe in free speech. I've talked about it before. I don't talk politics on this channel. But I am a pretty hardcore libertarian. I think the government should stay out of everything. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe people should be able to speak their minds. And that's not the culture we live in anymore, right? I'm a strong believer in the First Amendment. In every aspect. So retrospect. But yeah, we're starting to see this, right? There's more and more of this happening. A couple of my fellow creators are dealing with it. And again, I'm not speaking for them. I'm just observing. I have talked with them. I'm not going to say I haven't. But Machuli, if you know him, he may pop on here, has had 3 accounts banned. In a matter of minutes, all 3 of them went down. It was a coordinated attack. I believe he's gotten at least one of them back. I'm not sure on that. I know he's got one back, but I'm not sure on the others. But think about that. All of a sudden, boom, 3 accounts gone. The other day, Tammy, manicured mom, put video up showing how her main account, every single video on that had a community violation, some of which had been up for months and years. Literally every video on her account had a community violation. Now, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. Again, coordinated attack. This is what I wanted to kind of talk about today because, and I'm not talking about it in the sense of really bitching about it, for the people that are doing it, but I want to talk about it in terms of society, right? So why are they doing it? Well, the why they're doing it is they don't like what we have to say, right? They don't want us having the ability to speak about men's issues. So think about that for a second. I talk about domestic violence against men. I get attacked for doing that. I get my videos reported for doing that. I don't even mention women in it. I had one video where all I did on November 2nd was post a video about domestic violence awareness. There was, male victims of domestic violence awareness. That was it. That video got massively reported multiple times. It's a 15-second video. It's on my, I believe it's on my Men Need to Be Heard To account on TikTok. Think about that. What is so horrific to someone that making people aware that there are male victims of domestic violence is so bad that they should be silenced for doing so? And I see some people in the comments now, one in particular, who's attacking me right now for speaking. This is what we face. So if you're over on TikTok, go look at the comments, right? I'm not going to mention the name. But why are you so threatened? Why is society, forget you, why is society so threatened about raising awareness for male victims of domestic violence that you need to silence those that speak out against it? It's bad enough that I deal with it when I'm legislatively working, meaning I'm lobbying. I mean, I went through this I've talked about this before many times. I tried to get money to open a domestic violence shelter in the state of New York. There's 0 for men, 0. There's only 2 in the entire country in the U.S. And recently I was told there was 1 in the entire United Kingdom. 2 in the entire United States. Why is that? There's literally, and if you don't believe me, go read the CDC data. There's literally millions of men that need support. But yet, they're so threatened, they need to silence it. And I see the people making the comments. They're trying to talk about it right now over on TikTok. Tells you where they're at, right? Talking about male homelessness, male unaliving. So threatened are they by us talking about that they feel they must shut us down. Even though I'm going to boot these people shortly because they're just trying to stir it up. This is what they do, right? And I'm actually letting it go because I hope people are looking in the comments on TikTok. It's not happening in the other ones so bad, but this is the type of people they are, right? They have to come in and create issues to try and silence people because they think that somehow, it makes them better. So I just blocked one. I don't like blocking people, but they crossed the line as far as I'm concerned. They're trying to get this live shut down on TikTok right now as I'm talking. Now, have I said anything offensive? No, I'm simply raising awareness. But because they consider it the mere speech about it, and there's tons of them right now. So obviously they've decided to come in and attack this live. It's a perfect example of what they do, right? And again, their goal is to silence Maddie, silence Tammy, silence me. To what end? To what end, right? It just shows you, and it's why I wanted to bring it up, because the fact of the matter is I can talk about it all day long, but until everyone starts saying, hey, enough is enough, right? They just aren't willing to let us have that conversation. They're so threatened by it. And the reality is the reason that they're threatened by it is because, and questioner, it goes against the narrative, right? They don't want new ideas. They want their world, right? It's exactly what it is. Thank you, questioner, for mentioning that, right? Is that everything that they've done for 50 years now is blowing up in their faces right now. The reality is getting out there. The reality is that men are victims of domestic violence and deserve help. That men, are unaliving themselves at ever increasing rates and deserve help. That men make up roughly 80%, some would argue 90% of all homeless. They're okay with that. They want that. And because they want that, they need to silence those of us that are trying to raise awareness about it, trying to resolve the issue, get help for these men. They're so threatened by it that that's what they do. And the point I would make to all of you watching this is if you see that, and I see it's blowing up right now on TikTok, and I'll get to the rest of you guys. It's fine on YouTube and Instagram. I'll get to you guys in a minute. But it just shows you where we're at as a society. And where's the benefit, right? All it's doing is creating division. It's creating issues. It's the silencing of men benefits no one. Because if you're against it, if you think that men should not have their issues brought to light, you're basically saying you don't value men, that they serve no purpose. That's what you're saying. And I see the people in the comments doing that. Those people don't care about men or boys for that matter. I've had my videos where I talk about the issues with education of boys attacked. Why? Do you not want boys to get a decent education? Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're saying. And the answer is yes, that's exactly what they want. They don't value men. They don't value boys. So therefore they should be silenced. And, it just goes to show you where we're at. It's sad. And here's the funny thing they will never admit to themselves. By silencing men, by refusing to help men, they're hurting women every bit as much. And I had this conversation with someone earlier today where if a man unalives himself, obviously he's directly affected. It's a horrific tragedy. We need to address that. And their response was, well, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, you think that doesn't affect women? Well, what do you mean? I said, well, let's say he's a husband or a father and he's got a wife and a daughter and he unalives himself because of whatever reason he may have. You think those women, his wife and daughter, aren't affected? His mother? Because I know of cases like that. They're affected. They're affected drastically. So when people say they don't want men to get help, they try and silence those of us who speak out about it. What they're effectively saying is they don't care about the men and they don't care about the women in those men's lives. That's the reality. How sad is that? How sad is it? And I guess, it's speaking to where we're at as a society, right? I've said it many times. Others have said it. Men are viewed as disposable and have been for eternity, right? If 100 men pass away, who cares, right? Women and children first, that whole mentality. That's where we're at. It's been that way for a while, but the issue now, what has changed is those of us are starting to speak up. We're starting to say, no, men are not disposable. Men are valuable. They are needed. They are worthy. Men have done amazing things. And of course, the minute I say that, I'm waiting how fast it'll be before they say, well, men do all the bad stuff too. Yet, if you say some women do bad stuff, oh no, they don't. They only do good stuff. See, that's my point, right? And you kind of see that going on. I'm laughing because I'm seeing the comments on TikTok. I wish those of you on Instagram and those of you on YouTube could see it as well. But it's a really good thing to see, I think. And that's why I'm letting it go. All right? I did block one person off because they started getting really nasty. I don't want to be blocking people. If you can't come on to a live like this and have an honest, open discussion, that speaks more about you than us, those of us that are speaking out. Because, you know, I don't do this for any other reason than I'm trying to help people, right? You know, like I said, I don't make any money on Instagram, not a penny, right? TikTok, what I make, pennies. It's no big deal, right? I certainly am not doing this to make money. I'm not shaking my booty and getting 1 million views and making a couple $100,000 a month because, you know, I do that. That's not me. Nor would it ever be me for that matter. I would not do something like that. But I ain't doing this for the money. I've said it before many times. I'm 60 years old. Cue the hate comments for my age. Because as soon as you say this stuff, that's what happens. I recently sold my gym. I could go retire, play golf all day long. Spend time at the beach. I live a half a mile from the beach. I could be doing all that and not do any of this. It's not going to change a damn thing for me, right? I'm 60 years old. All this shit's behind me. I'll never set foot in family court again. I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. I'm doing it to help others. Both men and women, by the way. Yes, it's men need to be heard because by speaking for men and getting people to listen to what we have to say, it helps women every bit as much. It helps children every bit as much. Yet, they are so trying to silence us. And it's not just me, as I said. I named a couple of them. There's been others. I know of others. And we all talk behind the scenes. Just so I'm going to let a little secret out. We talk behind the scenes, right? I have good friends on here. Heavy, thank you for the TikToks. I have friends on here that I talk to pretty much daily, right? Some of whom are in the comments now. I'll get to that in a bit. We all are seeing this, and I've noticed it's ramped up even more. It's been an issue all along, but we're seeing it even more now. It kind of comes in waves. It was about a year ago, actually. This time, same thing happened, right? But not to this level. And it's sad. It really is. It's where we're at as a society, that we live or die by hating other people. That's where society's at, right? Some cases it's race, religion, gender, sex, whatever. The list is endless, right? We need to find a reason to hate. And you know what happens when we do that? We wreck our own lives. If you spend your life just trying to destroy others, you are not going to be happy. And it's not just me saying that. Every psychologist will tell you that, right? It doesn't mean you can't poke the bear or anything. I don't have a problem with that, right? But there are people, and you're seeing them. Again, my apologies to my Instagrammers. You see me look at different cameras here. You see these people doing this, and you see it like happening right now on TikTok. These people are in there trying to destroy this and disrupt this live. Why? What's the benefit to them? Is it going to make their life better? No. They're going to get a short-term dopamine hit because they think they got the person, which 99 out of 100 times they didn't get anything. And, they'll get out of this eventually and think they had a great day when the reality is they didn't, right? So what do you guys think? I've been pontificating now for the better part of a half hour about it because I'm kind of upset. Not angry, sad. I'm upset, sad. I really am because, I'm it's like somebody just posted, you still in here crying. I mean, come on. Childish, right? Childish. Is that supposed to, you think that hurts me? It's like when there isn't an hour, forget a day, there isn't an hour that goes by, somebody doesn't point out I have no hair. I'm supposed to be hurt by that. The fact that I shave my head might have some reason why I have no hair. I don't know. I just laugh about it, right? Now, I can fix that. I could let my hair grow back. Would it all grow back? No, I'll tell you right now, this right up in here would not grow back. Who gives a crap, right? But yet, they feel somehow they're improving their lives by attacking me for being bald. In this last spring, I was dealing with some skin issues, right? Precancerous tumors. I had them taken off. And some other things. And so one of the ways they take them off is they freeze them off. Well, I had one, I'm kind of pointing for those that you can see, right on my eyebrow, right underneath my eyebrow. So of course, when they froze it, half my eyebrow, the hair fell off because they used liquid nitrogen. All right. I had for about 3 months people that couldn't wait to comment the fact that I had lost part of my eyebrow for cancer treatment. All right. It is just amazing to me that this is where we're at as a society. And I'm not going to lie, it happens to women too. I'm not saying it doesn't. There are plenty who speak out on women's issues, and rightfully so. There's some legitimate women's issues out there. Do they get attacked and tried to be silenced? And sometimes they are, if we're being fair. Is it to the level the way they try and silence those of us speaking out for men or boys? Not even remotely close. Not for every one of the women who speak out for women's issues that get taken down. I'd venture to, I don't have any data, but I would venture to say easily 50 to 100 of us who speak out for men. By the way, men and women, right? I see Lindsay's on Squirrely Girl 1988. She speaks out on behalf of men. All right. She's a friend of mine. Full disclosure. Very good friend of mine. In fact, we're co-writing a book together. Lindsay gets attacked all the time because she speaks out about men's issues. She doesn't attack women. The point that I often make, sorry, I need a quick drink here. The point I often make is when these people are doing this, they see things, and I did a video on this now. I see that Lindsay, she is getting attacked right now, right? They see it as a zero-sum game. In fact, I just recorded a podcast earlier this afternoon where we talked about this a little bit. Soon to come out. I'm not going to reveal anything yet. Mystery, thank you for the chili, ice cream, and fire. I appreciate it. Where we talked about how they view it as a zero-sum game. So what do I mean by that? And I've done videos on this. A cornerstone of feminism for decades now. And I'm speaking from the lobbying perspective because as I said earlier when I first came on, I tried, and when I say there was a group of us. I'm not trying to take all the credit by any means. There was 5 or 6 of us that really worked hard on this. We were trying to get a domestic violence shelter for men opened in Albany, New York, a little north of Albany. I had talked to someone that was willing to donate a house. Needed a ton of work. I mean a ton of work. But they were willing to donate a house. I had a contractor who was willing to do the work. for free. But we were going to need about $100,000 for materials. This house was in rough shape. I'm not going to lie. Okay. But we need $100,000. We tried to raise money publicly, got nowhere. I mean, I put in $1,000 of my own. We ended up with like $1,800. You can't get 100. It doesn't work, right? I was lobbying the New York State legislature. I said, give me $100,000. I can have a men's shelter open. That's all I wanted. Just cover the materials. Let me get it open. Because once it got open, I felt comfortable enough to know that I could get like companies to donate money for the furniture or the computers or whatever. Again, we wanted to have a small facility. We were looking at 8 to 10 beds. It's not much. It was very little, but it was something. It would have given men who are victims of domestic violence a place to come and get the help they deserve, right? In my lobbying, I was going against the women's groups because they saw it as a zero-sum game. If the New York State legislature gave even $1, they saw it as was going to take away from women's. Domestic violence shelters, women's groups, whatever, however you want to put it. We never once said that. And I testified in front of a committee on that. I'm like, because they said it, and I'm like, have you, and it was funny because I had one of the legislators say to me afterwards, he goes, that was the most brilliant thing you said. I said, here we are. You've heard what they said. You've read everything I've provided with you. You've all talked with me individually. You're hearing from me now. Has there been even a single instance where I said to take a penny away from the current domestic violence shelters or women in any way? And every one of them is just doing the old shaking. They never respond because it's not the way it works. But they were all doing this, going, no, he didn't, right? Yet we didn't get the money. How sad is that, right? This is what happens. People always wonder, why is there only 2 shelters in the U.S.? One, because we're not allowed to talk about the issue. Hence why I'm talking about it today, right? They want to silence us before we speak out. But when we do speak out and people start listening, they come after us. They try and, like I said, get us banned, get our videos taken down. In this case, back in the day, they would go to the legislators and say things about us. And I won't get into details on that. They would attack us on a personal level. It was amazing, right? Anything to silence us, anything to prevent us from helping men. And again, I say to all of you, and I see, people making comments and stuff. I say to all of you, give me one benefit to silencing men. Give me one benefit, just one, to preventing men from getting help for domestic violence or unaliving themselves or homelessness or improving boys' education opportunities. The list is endless. And you can't say to me, well, it'll take away from women. That's off the table because I have not one time ever said we should take anything away from women. So other than that, what have you got? I'll wait. I'll get personal attacks, personal insults, and I see them happening. I keep looking down to my one side because TikTok's over here. It's amazing the level they will go to try. And I'm sure they're trying right now to silence me here. If this suddenly disappears on whether it's YouTube, TikTok, probably TikTok, but Instagram, you'll know why. Have I attacked women in any way? No. I have talked about what women's groups do. That's truth. That's reality. But I'm not putting them down. I get it. They're lobbying for themselves. More power to them, right? But that's how it's presented. And again, you will not see the majority of the time. I can't say never, but it's very, very rare. You will see someone who speaks out on men's issues saying we should take away from women. There are people out there doing that. They're not valid people in the men's movement. Okay. I'm going to catch hell for this, but I'll give you a perfect example. Pearl, right? I am not a fan of Pearl. I'm not against her, but I don't think she actually cares about men. And I know some things behind the scenes, and I can't give the details, but I know somebody who knows her. And she's out for one thing, and that's to make money. I have no problem with that. But anyone who thinks that she cares, genuinely cares about helping men, I no. And I certainly don't support her when she says, I mean, the insanity of posting that women shouldn't have the right to vote. Are you kidding me? No. But the problem is they then use her and assign what she does to me, right? Or to Lindsay, or to Tammy, or to Maddie, right? I saw somebody pop in about Andrew Tate. Same thing, right? I'm not a fan of Tate. Tate and Pearl are out for one thing, to make money. That's why they say and do what they do. That's fine. But they are not fighting for men's issues, all right? They don't care about domestic violence issues for men. Because if they did, with all the money they have, you think Andrew Tate, who's a multimillionaire, couldn't throw $100,000 to open up a shelter for men? Do it, my friend. And I actually emailed him and said that. With all the money you make, how about giving us some so we can open a shelter in the United States? Or England, or Belgium, or wherever he is. Croatia, I don't even know where he is. Nope. Didn't even get a response from it, right? Again, I know somebody who knows Pearl. I said try that with them. I don't know if they have or not, to be honest with you. But same thing, right? She brags about making a couple $100,000 a month from her videos. Okay. Give us 100,000. Give us 10,000. Give us something so that we can get I'm harping on domestic violence because how can we have a country of 350 million people, literally over 1,000 shelters available for women and 2 for men? You don't, all right, domestic violence is about 50-50 when you look at it. You don't like that number? Fine. Fine. Give me whatever number you have. You want to say it's as little as 5 or 10%? Let's say it's 10%. 10%, well, there's 350 million. That means there's 170 men. Let's back out younger kids and all that. Can we agree there's 100 million men in the United States? 10% is 10 million. They don't deserve help. That's my point, right? But yet, they will fight tooth and nail to prevent those men from getting help. You know, I wrote a book about it. In fact, I'll pop it up real quick. For those of you guys on Instagram won't see it, but I wrote this book, Unveiling the Forgotten Sufferers, where I talk about this issue and try and raise awareness about it. And I'm not saying all this right now to shill the book, all right? But I've done the research. I know what I'm talking about. I've been a domestic violence peer counselor for men. I have worked in the industry, all right? And I call it an industry because that's exactly what it is, all right? I'm going to take the book down. It's not about helping victims. It's about helping certain victims. And it's really about making money, you know. And again, that's what we're talking about. So let me just kind of scroll through. I don't mean to ignore you guys with comments. I'm just railing today because, again, you know, you hear all this stuff. All right, so Beardy Sloth. I like that name. I know I'm a downer today, aren't I? Normally I'm a happy-go-lucky, let's have fun type of thing. Not today. I'm sorry. I'm currently dealing with a lot on my side of the pond, so I'm guessing he's England. Your podcast helps so much. Well, thank you, sir. So I'm just scrolling through Instagram right now. TikTok is a crap show right now, so I don't even know if I'm going to. I'll get to my YouTubers next. Yeah, so somebody just said it's mainly just grifters, right? So, I mean, I've been accused of being a grifter. Well, you make money because you make videos. I do. I'm not going to tell you I don't. Well, I do on TikTok. I don't make anything on YouTube. I'm not in the monetization program on YouTube yet. Hopefully I will eventually, right? I make zip on Instagram. They demonetize me. As I said earlier, I have no idea why. Well, I know why, but they haven't given me a reason why. What I make on TikTok, not that much. Do I make money? Yes. Am I going to be able to? Well, I am retired, but if I'll use the argument, could I retire on it? No, I would starve to death. Okay. I could feed myself for a couple of days, maybe. As I said, I don't need to be doing this. I'm doing this to help people. So, when people call me a grifter, I would venture to say, where's the benefit to me to doing that, right? Am I making $1 million or whatever it is? Some of the ones we've mentioned to? No, not even close. Not even close, right? And if you're going to say that to me, do you call anyone who speaks out on women's issues grifters? Haven't seen one yet do that, but yet they'll attack us for doing that. All right, let me just, but good point though. Thank you. Again, I rail every week about this. Instagram's live sucks because I want to see comments, not all the waves. I appreciate the waves. Thank you for giving them to me, but I need the comments. So social media and the internet has made society way too comfortable saying things online that they wouldn't have the stomach to say in person. Exactly, right? It's very safe to say things from behind a keyboard. One thing I've noticed, and I've talked about this before, if you notice, most of the people doing the attacking, they hide behind faceless accounts, right? They have avatars, but faceless accounts. I'm here front and center, right? You can see me. Do I take some precautions? Yes. Angel Warrior asked earlier, what's the worst threat that's been done on me? I received a death threat last summer. A very, very, very serious one. So much so that law enforcement got involved. And I haven't given all the details yet. But unfortunately for the person that was making it, they weren't the brightest bulb in the bunch. And oh, by the way, I have a very good friend who happens to work for New York State in the cyber crime unit. And it took him all of about 5 minutes to find out who the person was and where they were. And then, again, not giving too many details, let's just say law enforcement was involved and addressed the situation. Make no mistake, this was a legitimate death threat. Legitimate, right? So do I take some precautions? Absolutely do. Absolutely do, right? Because of that situation. There's some crazy people out there. I am not alone in this, by the way, all right? Other creators have talked about what they have faced. Forget what I have said. Go watch Maddie's accounts, Machuli, right? You can find him he's on Insta, he's on Twitter, he's on TikTok. I think he's on YouTube. I'm not sure. Look at Tammy. Tammy is Manicured Mom. Look at hers. I'm just using them as examples. I know Lindsay has had some. Some other people have had. We all talk, all right? We all know what's going on. This is the level that they will stoop to. As I said, and I'm not trying to get sympathy or anything for talking about that threat. It was asked to me. And I appreciate Angel for asking me that. And I think you knew it, but I'm not sure. Because I did talk about it a little bit at the time. But when I got that threat, it came in overnight, right? It was emailed to me, just so if anybody wants to know. It was emailed to me, and without getting too detailed on it, they knew where I was, which is not hard to find, right? And then said some things. And the problem for them, as I said, was we tracked them down. When I say we, my friend tracked, and I could have tracked them too. People don't remember that I worked in IT and cybersecurity. I know a little bit myself. It wasn't hard to find this person. But it kind of just woke me up to, we all deal with the crazies on the internet. We've all every one of us has dealt with them, right? There are some nutso people out there. We all deal with them. Whatever you talk, something as simple as posting a cat video, funny cat video, will get people commenting and I mean, nasty, right? It's insane where we're at. And they know they can do it because they're hiding behind a keyboard, and there's no accountability, none, from any of the social medias. I'm waiting for the day where someone gets unalived because of it. There's been cases, but there's going to be eventually, and maybe it's already happened, I just don't know about it. And I was talking with my friend about this because he works in cyber, and he sees things you and I you wouldn't even begin to understand. All right. I don't. All right. He sees this stuff, and even he has said it's not if, it's when it's going to happen. And when that happens, I hope the social medias get held accountable. You know, they have their EULAs, license agreements and all that to protect themselves. They're private corporations. They hide behind that. Section 230, which I'm all for repealing. I'm waiting for the videos to get taken down now because I'm talking about this, right? Section 230 prevents you and I from holding them accountable, right? The government will not remove it. Both parties, by the way. Neither party is in favor of removing Section 230, which gives them blanket immunity, essentially, the social medias. But the day's going to come where somebody's going to get unalived, and I hope that family or whomever then targets the social medias, because it's the only way it's going to get it to stop. And to be fair, I want to be honest and fair here. So my situation was addressed. I'm aware of at least 3 others that have happened in the last 3 months. And to be fair, the various social medias did take it seriously and tried to help out as long as you had law enforcement involved. Because mostly they didn't have a choice. But did they do everything they could have? No, they didn't. Not even remotely. So, you know, it's sad. It goes back to what you're saying. People think that they're safe by doing this stuff anonymously behind the keyboard, right? I'm pretty much caught up on Instagram. Let me jump over to the YouTube comments. So, Tate, okay, so Matthew, thank you, Matthew, for telling Tate's in Romania. Again, I'm not a fan of Tate. I never have been. I will vehemently say he does not speak out on behalf of men's issues. He is, and questioner nails it. Tate and Pearl are shock jocks. Yeah, that's what they are. I have no beef with them personally or even what they do. They're out to make a buck. I have no problem with, there's the libertarian in me, right? I have no problem with them doing that. What I have a problem with is me being lumped in with them, or Lindsay, or Tammy, or Maddie, or whomever you want to list, right? I don't support probably 90% of what Pearl says, because I get it. You think about it, right? Her latest thing for the last few months is women should lose the right to vote. That's insane to me. Forget the fact that I have daughters that I think should be able to vote. Even if I had not a single woman anywhere in my circle, I would still sit there and go, are you kidding me? Of course women should be able to vote. Of course they should. The reason she says that is, to questioner's point, shock value. Because she takes a picture of herself wearing that shirt saying repeal the 18th Amendment, walks around, takes a video, posts it on the internet. She gets millions of views and millions of comments, all for the money. And, you know, media does the same thing, right? We're talking about Pearl and Tate. This is what the news media does. And I know because I'm involved in it, right? You know, Facebook's pretty much dead and buried. But if you go on Facebook, I haven't been on it in ages, and I have a Facebook account for this. There is a Men Need to Be Heard Facebook account. I don't monitor it, guys. So if you're on there, the videos post, some of my videos post there, but I'm not on that one that often. But back in the day, the news medias would post a story they knew was controversial. They would even tweak the headline to make it controversial, to stir anger up. Because then people are going to comment. And if they comment, then the algorithm kicks in and they sends it further. I play that game. I'm not going to lie to you, right? I do that with some of my titles. Clickbait, it's known as, right? So actually, somebody just said this is bait. That's exactly it. It's clickbait, right? That's what it's known as. So, like newspaper, yes, crazy. I am not reading the comments right now. You're right. Guess what? It's my live. I get to do what I want. Jesus Christ. Sometimes I swear to God, I am reading some comments, but you know, I saw how the media would operate with that. So there would be a story that they knew was going to be controversial. If it bleeds, it leads, right? And they would throw it up on say, well, back in the day it was Facebook, right? The others, some of them didn't even exist then. Knowing that what they posted was going to make people just lose their minds, and they banked on it because they made money that way. So I don't have a problem with that, again, right? To a point. But yeah, so that's exactly it. Shock jocks is a great way to put it. So a couple other ones over on YouTube. Maddie got mass reported because he didn't agree with it. Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? And the questioner said threats prove that you have a point. Yeah, if they're getting to the point where they're making threats against you and attacking you the way they are, it's because they know we're making inroads, right? We are getting, to use my moniker, men are starting to be heard. And it's just amazing how threatened they are by that. That they feel the only solution, they won't engage in a discussion with us, not a real one. They'll hurl insults and do all that stuff. They'll attack us personally. They'll threaten us. But, again, it goes back to this paradigm. That's a favorite word of mine. That's why you hear me use it all the time. This paradigm that was created 50 years ago to paint all men as evil, to advance the rights of women, right? And many others have talked about this. This is not me putting women down, okay? Feminists have talked about it. I had Warren Farrell on my podcast a couple of weeks ago. Warren Farrell was on the board of directors for the National Organization of Women. In the 70s, he was known as the male feminist. He went all over the world doing talks on behalf of women's rights. And he will tell you it morphed. And he talks about it in my podcast, right? Christina Hoff Sommers is another one. Feminist as feminist could be. Changed when she saw what it was becoming. There's a whole host of them, all right? So it's not, when I say things changed and this dynamic was created to paint men as evil, that's not just me saying it, it's them saying it. And it's just gone to a whole new level, right? And I think a lot of it, as I've talked about before, COVID was a game changer for men in the sense that, and I've talked about this before, I think that we're going to look back in 10, 15 years and point to that time frame, 2020, 21, 22, even now into 23, where men realize that, you know what, they have value. They don't need relationships anymore. They're not seeing any benefit from it, right? We were all locked down. We couldn't go do anything. So men were staying home. Everyone was staying home, men, women, children, whatever. And, men would play video games or hang with their friends online. I used to do Zoom calls with my friends, right? That kind of stuff. And I think it kind of woke men up to go, you know what? We're good if we're on our own. And we're, the MGTOW movement is part of it. Red Pill, all the names they like to use as deriding names of men. But they are reality, right? Sir Peter, thanks for the rose. King Laddie, thanks for the ice cream. I wish it was a real ice cream right now because I could sure use it. I think that's a game changer, right? And it's freaking them out. So again, I've talked about this at length. I'm not going to go too much deeper in it here, but this is what's happening, and they're panicking. So they're trying to silence us. They're doing everything they can to silence us. What does that tell you? How afraid are they that men can get domestic violence shelters? That men, I'm going to lose Instagram in a couple minutes, so I already went through, I think, all the comments there. And guys, I wish I knew how to go longer than that. I go an hour and a half on TikTok, YouTube. Switch over to TikTok, YouTube, if you want to follow me there. Men Need to Be Heard 3 on TikTok. Men Need to Be Heard on YouTube. I'll be live on those for another half hour. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, so they're so afraid that if they allow one more shelter to be open in the United States, that something's going to be taken away from women. It's that zero-sum game I talked about earlier. It's insanity. It's insanity. And a lot of it is, and it was funny because, Dr. Farrell talks about it, some other people. I'm rereading Richard Reeves' books about boys and the issues they're facing. They talk about it. This data is there. This is not new data. Let's talk about boys in education. This data has been around. They've known for 40 years, since the early 80s, that all the changes they made to help women have better chance in school, better opportunities, and so forth worked. That's awesome. None of that should be changed. But it did the exact opposite for boys, which is why 60% of college graduates are now women and 40 are men, the exact opposite of what it was before they made the changes. That data is not new. It's not hidden. Everybody can find it. But we're starting to talk about it. It's getting out more into the public domain, and they don't like that. They can't have that because they see it as, if we start talking about fixing boys' education, well, we're going to take away from girls. We're not. No one's ever advocated for that. Sad. It really is. All right. Let's start reading through some of the comments. I'm pretty much caught up on questioner. I was thinking on studying on women's issues. Good luck with that, my friend. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more on that. All right, let me scroll back because I have like 300 messages on TikTok. Guess I got a little bit of a people I saw who was doing it, but like, here's an example of a comment. Quick, everyone, listen, a dude is talking. From a supposed dad, a D&D dad. What? Is that supposed to put me down? Is that supposed to be an insult? I don't know. But this is what they do. Angel, you're the Jordan Peterson of men's issues. Well, that would put me in very good company. I wish I got paid when he did. And then there's a few others, mocking me for caring. Again, think about that. These people, frankly, are nuts. They're delusional. The internet is being mean to me. Oh, you poor baby. That's what, does that make your day better? It doesn't bother me. I'm laughing at it, actually, right? But that's the kind of comments that they give to us. They would never dream of doing it to a woman because that would be misogynistic. But misandry is perfectly fine, right? Because that person does not want to fix the issues that men have. They don't have a problem with men unaliving themselves. They don't have a problem with boys not graduating from high school in ever increasing numbers. They're okay with that. That's what they want. That's what they're saying with what they're doing, right? It is amazing. And then, of course, I got some others. Well, set your own rules on your own network. Again, it's a private company. They can do what they want. Then why are you telling them what to do by mass reporting videos, right? Because you're afraid of what we're saying. It's amazing to me that the way they are, and they so blinded by their hatred and rage, what they like to say we have. This is, you can see it. those of you on TikTok can see it in the comments what I'm talking about. Instagrammers, I'm about to lose you. My apologies. Jump over to YouTube, Men Need to Be Heard, or TikTok, Men Need to Be Heard 3. I'll be live for another half hour on there. Come join us there. I have no control over these things, but for those of you that can't do that, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the kudos and thanks. And come back next week. I'll probably be on Tuesday. I'm not doing live on Wednesday because it's the night before Thanksgiving. See you in a bit. All right, guys. I'll Instagram will drop off now, so now I'm down to 2. You know, it's interesting. Again, I'm kind of scrolling. I'm ignoring most of these comments because it's just amazing to me. The mindset, right? You know, hate speech isn't free speech, and the internet isn't the government, is a comment. But yet they don't see what they're saying and doing as hate speech. They and they alone are the determiners of what is hate speech. So if they don't like something, it's hate speech to them. They can do and say whatever they want. And that's what they're doing, right? That's their goal. And we're not even talking politics right now. We're talking about things like domestic violence against men. That's how they act, right? And they're all hiding behind faceless accounts as they're doing it. So Charles, kudos to you, my friend. I got to read your thing. I get complaints and warnings when I suggest women try OnlyFans. Thank you. I needed that laugh. Thank you. Oh, here's another. See, here's another comment. The person says, yes, that's what happens when MRA trash shows their face. Okay, I'm trash. Does that make your life better? Do you think I'm upset? I'm not. Sorry. What I see is someone who feels they need that dopamine hit by hurling insults. Okay, hope it helps. You know, it's amazing to me. And of course it's, well, if you don't like it, leave TikTok. No, and I already know this person, I know who it is, will mass report this, probably already has, you know. Another one, the First Amendment does not protect you from private business or private citizens. You're right. But if you're only going to silence those that you disagree with, well, there's a little issue with that, and I'm not going to get into the legality of that. Unfortunately, Section 230 allows it, right? It cracks me up to no end that they think that this is appropriate, right? That attacking people to get their little dopamine hit is appropriate, that it's somehow going to make their lives better. These are miserable people, right? And I'm not naming names because if I do, then I get banned for it. It's okay for them to do it to me though, right? But they'll cry like little bitches if I do it. So I can't name names. Angel, I've had videos taken down literally seconds after being uploaded. Exactly. So I put a video up earlier today. Got a community violation instantly. Why? Because they said it was unoriginal content, which was hilarious because there was I looked it up, 2¼ inch or 2¼ second stitch that I used. And then I did about a 1.5-minute video after that. Taken down for unoriginal content. So you better not ever do a stitch again on TikTok or what do they call it on Instagram? I forget what they call it. Repost or something like that. Those are okay, but because I talked about an issue facing men, well, that got taken down. These people are amazing. I'm scrolling. I'm ignoring most of the comments. Matthew over on YouTube. Hate the double standards and standards. Not. Yeah, you're right. For anyone in the UK, Maddie is a good UK men's advocate. I'm not sure if there are other. Now, I will tell you, I know Maddie well. He's been on my podcast. I consider him a good friend. I've chatted with him multiple times. Maddie speaks out on men's issues, but to label him an MRA, I think he's more about, and I'm speaking for Maddie and I shouldn't, but I don't consider Matty a true MRA, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm saying it in a positive way, right? He looks to improve people's lives, and he gets vilified for it. You know, how sad is it that they attacked? They were so threatened by him, and he didn't even do anything, that they targeted him. Not on just one, by the way, one platform. They went after him on multiple. And again, I don't want to speak for Matty. That's his job. But it just kind of shows you what they'll do. And by the way, we all know who it is, those of us that talk behind the scenes. I can't say anything more than that. All right, let me scroll back because TikTok jumped ahead. I'm caught up on Instagram right now. Not Instagram, YouTube. My YouTubers, I am watching for you, though. Some of these people are just, I'm looking at these comments and I just like, and by the way, thank you for defending not just me, but our right to speak. And see, you did a better job probably than I am. If you notice the people, again, my apologies to my YouTubers, you got to be on TikTok to see these comments that I'm referring to. But if you notice, everything they say is an insult. It's an attack. They haven't actually made a legitimate statement yet. It is what it is. All right. Most Cadillac Jack. Hey, good seeing you, buddy. It's been a while. Most people who vent identity politics have a lot of pain in them. Exactly, right? They're trying to get that dopamine hit, as I call it. And then, of course, I'm laughing at them because I just they think they're getting people. Oh, God, they're not. I'm so sorry. All right. Perfectly you, perfectly me. Don't focus on the negative. I'm curious what men want to say. I've asked them 3 times. Well, go watch my videos. There's a few hundred of them up. I talk about various issues. Come back here next week. I do have a topic for next week. The one I had originally planned for today, I'm going to push off for a little bit. But next week I have a specific topic I'm going to be addressing. But anyway, questioner over on YouTube. What is your view of TERFs, traditional feminists? They get a lot of hate. I guess I am a TERF, right? I fully support early 70s feminism. The education system did need to be changed to help girls. Totally agree with that. And none of that should be taken away. What needs to be fixed is address the issues that boys face. I guess the best answer I can give you is this. Because I agree with her. One of my dearest friends is what would be considered, I guess a TERF is the term for it. She is a burn your bra. She's told me she's burned many bras back in the 70s. Very much a feminist, still is. She hates today's feminism. I can't repeat what she says about it and what it's become. They do get vilified, to your point. They get a lot of hate. Very much so. The classic one is Aaron Prizzi, which I'm trying to get on my podcast, right? Opened the first domestic violence shelter in the UK. Got drummed out and is vilified. I mentioned Christina Hoff Sommers earlier. Look at the attacks against her. She's a great woman, right? Very much in favor of equal rights. Very much so. But vilified by modern feminists, if you will. It is what it is. It is what it is. Mr. Redone, what do you think is the main reason for most divorces? Well, I can tell you what I know because I've done the research. The biggest reason so everybody knows women file 80% of the time, 90% if they're college educated. Not my words, their words. Bored. Think they can do better. That's the reason people are divorcing now. Starter marriage is I refer to that. That term just shows you anyone that uses the term starter marriage is not committed. Never has been, never will be. Right? Marriage takes work. In fact, the podcast I recorded earlier, we talked about that, right? And one of the things we talked about is fixing relationships. And what needs to be fixed is the understanding that both men and women, by the way, think that marriage is going to be easy as pie. They get into relationships. I talked about dopamine earlier. They get those dopamine hits, though. Oh, I'm in love. It's so awesome. It feels great. All that crap, right? And it is crap, by the way. That'll work for a few weeks, maybe a few months. And so many people right now are getting married like that, which is why I tell guys, you should not be getting serious in your relationship for at least a year. You should not be moving in or getting married for at least a year. I would argue 2 now, because you got to get past that phase, that love phase, so to speak, and get into reality, because marriage is work, and it takes work from both sides. I would venture to say nobody wants to put the work in anymore. Those that do have great marriages. I'm not anti-marriage. Everybody thinks I'm anti-marriage. I am not anti-marriage. Very much in favor of it. But it's broken right now, and it is not getting fixed. It is not anytime soon. And the risk, unfortunately, right now to men is so great. I can't. People say, do you think men should get married? I don't right now. Not till this gets fixed. The laws need to change. You know, the risk to men is so huge of losing everything. And nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody, meaning the politicians and all that, right? That's the reality. And if we don't address that and have honest conversations about it, men should not be getting married right now. And if you are going to get married, that's fine. I'm not knocking anybody that does. I'm simply saying do so with the reality that 55% of marriages right now are ending in divorce. And you, my friend, are going to lose. You are not going to win. Okay? And if you have kids, you're really going to lose. Those are realities. That's not putting anyone down. That's just simply stating reality. So anyway, I have 186 messages. I'm obviously not going to get them through. I got about 15 minutes. Let me just quickly scroll through. I'm caught up on YouTube. Caught you. Has anyone noticed that here in Canada, women are making false claims of abuse to get housing? I don't know that that's unique to Canada, my friend. That's known as the silver bullet, by the way, with marriage, so that they get the house. I can't speak for Canada, so I'm going to say, have I noticed it? No, I haven't in the sense of Canada, but I have noticed it in other ways. The troll is there. Men are the reason men don't get therapy. Yes, you're correct. Men like you, who mock and make fun of people like me, who tries to help men get therapy and help. You're guilty of what you say. Enough said. It's amazing how they think. I'm just scrolling through some of the insane messages here. I'm not going to use your screen name because it'll get me banned, but I've been a men's rights TV SA advocate activist for 10 years. This guy hasn't been wrong yet. I always invite people, challenge to prove me wrong. But don't sit back and get mad at me when I prove you wrong, which is exactly what they do. And then they start hurling insults at me. I'm shaking my head, guys. I'm sorry I go silent from time to time. I'm literally reading these comments on TikTok, and it is mind-blowing. And I let them, you notice I've let them go. So it's, again, one of the things, let me talk about that briefly. Because I've had many, many people say, why don't you just block these people? Because they're educating people better than I ever could. People that are making those comments, I want people to see them. Because the normal, average, everyday Joe, Jane, whatever you want to say, see that for what it is. It's their toxicity and their fear and their trying to silence us. Exactly what I'm talking about here. I want people to see that because that educates far better than I ever could, right? Um, Questioner on YouTube said, the men who laugh at men's issues will not laugh when they become the victim. Golf clap for you, my friend. If I did a video on this the other day. If I had $1 for every man who has come to me, and I hear from him all the time, and said, I never thought this would happen to me, I would be, well, Elon, as I said in the video, Elon would not be the richest man on earth. I cannot tell you the number of times. It's dozens. I've had guys who were just like some of these commenters, mocking men, putting them down, saying they deserved everything that happened to them, who later came to me, and I remember some of them. Can you help me out? I cannot believe this happened to me. She filed a restraining order on me. I don't want to hear it, bud. You were the one mocking people that happened to. And I shared the story a while ago, probably 3 months ago, about the lawyer that happened to. There's a lawyer in New York State who was known for using the silver bullet. Virtually every case, his wife used it on him. And he came to me, because I had already had dialogue with him, like, what are you doing, dude, right? And he laughed about it till his wife used it on him. Then he came crying, can you help me out? We got to do something about this. I will not use the finger. I'll point my finger, but you know what I mean, what finger, to him, right? Happens all the time. It's amazing. I've seen posts of women telling other women to claim abuse. So in fact, women, yeah, well, I won't get into that now. Watch a podcast in a couple weeks. That's all I'm going to say. I'm shilling for my podcast a little bit there. It's amazing. I'm skipping through. I'm 200 messages behind. I know I pontificated today, but hey, that's what I'm here for. So I'm skipping. If I don't, reply to some, I'm looking for questions, basically. If you have questions you want to ask me, feel free. Because I'm not going to get into all this. Oh, Sean G., do you have a pink bedroom? No, my friend. I have a salmon bedroom. So when I bought this house, the bedroom was salmon, not orange. I call it orange. It's painted salmon, and I actually like the color. The reason it kind of looks orange is, one, the way the camera's picking it up, but two, the light over my head is a red light. Don't ask. So no, I don't have a pink bedroom. But guess what? I wouldn't have a problem if I did have a pink bedroom. I like pink. Mr. White Stallion, good name. Have you measured your blood pressure today? Well, I do take it every day, and up until about an hour ago, it was actually pretty good. Actually, I'm fine. Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm sad right now. If anything, I'm sad. People think I get angry. These troll comments that I get, I crack up. There are times I am laughing so hard at their comments, I have to just put my phone down, because I'm like, there was a couple this past weekend. I'm like, oh my God, do they not realize what they're saying? And I'm like, whatever. They think they're getting me mad, and I'm laughing. It's amazing. Oh, Lindsay, you snot. It's salmon, obviously sarcasm. You were right, though. I love you, Lindsay. You know that. Oh, my God, that's funny. See, that's what happens. See, that's where we can laugh, too. And there's nothing wrong with that. And Sean replies, haha, I say that about a shirt I have. Mine actually is salmon, believe it or not. I actually have the paint can, and that's what the paint color is called. Shaggy put Emily King. Not sure what it was in reference to. I know I've talked about a lot. I'm guessing when I was talking about creators. Tony, thank you for the heart. Keys, thank you for the rose. Marty, thanks for the rose. I guess you're talking about when I was talking about creators. I've never talked with Emily. I like her stuff, don't get me wrong. I don't know that she goes through this. I'm assuming she does, but I don't want to say that. I've never had a conversation with her. None of the people I know that are creators, I don't believe, have talked with her. And by the way, kudos to her and congratulations for her new baby. But yeah, Emily, see, again, Emily does not speak about men's issues. Emily talks about relationships. And that's the thing. They kind of all blends together sometimes, right? Emily is a relationship person. She's trying to help relationships, which, again, they all kind of intertwine. I get that. But anyway, sorry. Oh, these people. Oh, my God. Shaggy, good point. Lots of women are starting to speak out. It's not just men because women are tired of it too. There are a lot of women speaking out about men's issues. Lindsay being one of them. Just at this, and it tells you something. Look at how they get treated. So if you don't follow Squirrely Girl 1988, go follow her on TikTok. All right. I think she's on YouTube, but I'm not sure. But anyway. Go look at, I know she put a video up earlier today where someone was calling her a pick-me and all that. Again, it's a term of derision against women. You claim to care about women and lifting women up, but yet a woman who doesn't do exactly what you say she should be doing, you deride her by calling her pick-me. This is their mindset. This is what I'm talking about. Happens to women too, right? Crazy said, I don't think he's going to comments. Here I am. I'm just quickly scrolling. Again, I'm not going to repeat it. 72% of women initiate DV. That's a recent study that came out, right? Again, and I'm not giving it away yet, but the podcast I just did with someone who's a big creator, okay? You'll know who it is when it comes out. I'm saving it. I'm teasing it. He's a big creator, and he talks about exactly that. All right. All right, Jason, I'm going to call you out. So Jason put, men need to use corporal punishment on women. I'm convinced from the remarks. No. Enough said. Let's not go there, guys. All right. No. I'm falling farther behind the comments. I'm so sorry, guys. Normally I stay pretty close on the comments, and I know I went an hour just rapping, but let me just kind of scroll forward because I see most of this are people trying to stir crap up, and those of you responding and defending, thank you for that. I genuinely thank you for me. I'm going to shout out Lindsay because she's doing a lot of it, and I know she has my back, but all of you that are speaking and defending what we're talking about, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. Because I do appreciate it. And we all need to be doing that more. We all need to be talking about men's issues. So, again, I'm way behind on the comments, and I apologize, guys. Usually I'm way better on that. I'm just catching up quick. Oop, there was a comment. Maddie wanted to know what's the silencing of men. I was going to do a roundup on that. So I'll answer your question as part of my roundup. So what we're talking about, Maddie, is that I started out the show, if you're still on, I started out the show talking about what's been going on in the last few weeks for those of us that speak out on various social medias. It's not just any particular one about men's issues, right? So there's an obvious attempt going on to silence us. I've had videos taken down. I've had my accounts targeted. This particular live, when I first tried to go live, got blocked until I changed the title. There's a concerted effort going on to silence not just me. I mentioned Machuli, Maddie. I know he's not on, or if he is, I didn't see it. He had 3 accounts taken down, and he's not really what I would consider a men's rights activist, okay? Tammy, the manicured mom, was showing videos earlier this week. They took every video on her account had a community violation, which means a group of people went in and mass reported it. There are others. There's a concerted effort to silence men and women talking about the issues men and boys face. Things like boys falling behind in education, domestic violence against men, men's mental health issues. I haven't mentioned that one yet. They want to silence that talk. Homelessness. I'm missing some. You get the point with it, right? That's what we're talking about. Why is that? Why do people think that that is the way to go? Why do you want to silence us? Here's another one. You're in here on TikTok Live complaining of being silenced with a little snarky emoji. This is the exact thing that they do, right? They want to demean me as an individual for speaking out because somehow or another that makes them better. Again, it's ridiculous. Are you really that fragile thinking men are being silenced? Ha, ha, ha. Again, clearly the feminists have found this. My gut feeling would be that they knew this was coming and decided to target it. And this is the actions that they do. So Maddie, to answer your question, go look at the comments. See how they're mocking men, mocking not just me, other people for daring to just simply speak about men's issues and raise awareness of it. That's what they're doing. That's what we're talking about. And they're doing it because they want to silence us. They don't want us talking. It is what it is. All right. So I only got a couple minutes left, and I do have to run pretty much right on time here. My apologies. I am still over 100 messages behind on TikTok. Pretty much caught up on YouTube. 66, the OSU, Ohio State. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Others, thank you. Guys, just a blanket thank you for thanking me. I truly appreciate that. Those of you that gave me gifts on the various things, I tried to say thank you to everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Ivory, I see you just sent a rose. Thank you for those. I do appreciate that support. Look, guys, we're in a battle. We're in a war, to be honest with you, right? It's not about taking anything away from women. And that's the difference between the people that are doing what they're doing and us, right? We don't want to take anything away from women. We simply say, we want men to be heard, right? I know, that's my name. We want men to have access to domestic violence shelters and facilities and support. We want men's mental health to be addressed, to be looked at. We want education to start looking at helping boys so that they graduate from high school and can go to college or trade school or whatever. We want the homelessness issue, which is predominantly, overwhelmingly male, looked into. All of those things. And anyone who opposes that, they are guilty of what they accuse us of being. Right? They say we want to take away from women. No, we don't. Not one penny, not one program. They, however, are the exact opposite. They're guilty of what they're saying to us, right? And they will do and say anything they can to silence us. How sad is that, right? The way you can help. So I want to kind of talk about that briefly. Look, support creator. You don't have to like me. You don't have to support me, right? But support other creators. If they put up a video, give it a like, repost it, share it. You know, if somebody, whether it's me or Maddie or whomever, does a post which hits home with you, you go, geez, I've been through that, or geez, we need to raise awareness about, men going through domestic violence, whatever it might be. Share it, repost it, comment on it, play the algorithm game, as I like to say, right? I'm not saying that to shill. I'm saying that that's how we share the word, right? My podcast, which goes up every single Sunday, I mean, I miss one here or there, but I put up a podcast. I think I've missed one in the last 9 months. Is about raising awareness on men's issues. Some of them are very serious. Some of them are lighthearted and fun, right? It's a wide variety, but we're talking about men's issues. We're not trying to take anything away from women on that. Go watch that podcast, all right? It's on all the major platforms. That's how we raise awareness. We have to start speaking out and helping men and boys. And if you're against that, fine. You can be. But why do you need to silence those of us that are? It speaks more volumes about you than me. All right, I will, like I said, next week, I am not doing a live on Wednesday for my regulars. It's Thanksgiving Eve. I have a traditional family thing, and I love you guys to death. You know that, but that's my priority, okay? I am going to try and do it on Tuesday instead from 4 to 5:30. I cannot say for certain I will be. I'll let you know. I'll try and do like a video earlier in the day Tuesday. I may not know until Tuesday whether I can do it or not. And if I do it, there you go. I know some of you like it when I do that. I have a specific topic in mind. If I don't do it, then I will be doing that same topic in the future. Like I said, I'm live generally every Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern on TikTok, YouTube, 4 to 5 on Instagram because it only gives you an hour. I am looking at adding some other things, some other lives. If you subscribe to the various things, you can subscribe to me on YouTube. You can subscribe on Instagram. I have my Patreon. If you go on those and get into the membership, the subscription, I do videos and lives on that. In fact, I'm going to be doing a live not next week, but next weekend after that, after Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing a live primarily for the guys that didn't get to see their kids over the Thanksgiving and are struggling. So I'll be doing a live for members only on that. And I do other videos that are in there that I can't do on the regular stuff. So to all of you, thank you for coming. Thank you for all the kind words. My apologies for some of the comments that were in there. Obviously, I didn't put them, but, it is what it is, right? And y'all have a great week. And if I don't talk to you again, have a great Thanksgiving. Like I said, I'm going to hope to be on next Tuesday. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll see you next time.